Welcome to A Woman's Desire. Thank you for joining us now or on the afterplay. Welcome to A Woman's Desire. I hope I'm not sounding really echoey, but I probably will. Anywho, I'm gonna get my sound right at some point. But welcome to A Woman's Desire. We are here tonight. We are going to try to do it every 2 weeks, and we are here to talk about a woman's desire. So thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Sylvia Reindock, and God gave this to me probably at least 10, 12 years ago. Put it in my heart about a woman's desire. So welcome to our live broadcast. You're welcome to join in the conversation and put comments in. We had some good activity on the last one 2 weeks ago. I know we're competing with Super Bowl night. And but that's okay. There's always the afterplay. But welcome. Thank you for joining us now or later. So we're here to talk about a woman's desire. I am supposed to have a guest coming on, but they haven't entered the studio yet. But a woman's desire, discover your freedom to be rightly loved. That's what a woman's desire is. I'm a woman. I have many desires. I've had many desires over the years, continue to have desires. And so we're coming from a woman's perspective. And we want to share, most of all, the one desire that we have, I believe, as a woman that I have had, is just to be rightly loved. And we will just want to have a conversation. I know there's other women out there that feel the same way. I mean, I'm a woman, so I know. Over the years, I've been in relationships, been married once, currently married for over 22 years now. And the first time was about 12 years we were married. And so I believe we just want to be rightly loved. And many times we're looking for love in all the wrong places and all the wrong faces and all the wrong things. But a woman's desire is to be rightly loved. And so on this broadcast, we want to encourage you to discover your freedom to be rightly loved. But welcome to A Woman's Desire. I wanted to talk about singleness. I've been single before, even though I've been married twice. I'm currently married now, my second marriage. But I want to talk about singleness tonight. Let me see if I can put in some I was going to put a tickler across the screen because I am my own producer. So, and I've forgotten how to do that. It's been so long since I did it. This is kind of odd what I'm seeing right now. I'm not getting to my place where I can do my banners. But singleness. How many single ladies we got out there? How many single ladies do we have out there? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. This show is in half an hour. We try to wrap it up in a half an hour at the most, because I know it's Sunday night, and I am competing with the Super Bowl tonight. So all over well, I guess you could say the world, all over the nation at least. Everybody, not everybody. I know everybody watches Super Bowl. I'm not a football person. But I will watch the Super Bowl. Years ago, my husband used to have a Super Bowl party every year for probably about 9 years. So he did it all. He got his food together. He went out shop, got his food together, made his appetizers. People brought stuff, and we'd have 15 people in our house, maybe even more. And it was a great way to just come together, have some food, fellowship, watch the Super Bowl. Great time. So I know that I'm competing with that. I'm not even going to do any Super Bowl food. My husband did go to his parents. His dad is watching the Super Bowl. Who is a Eagles fan? Yay, Eagles. Go Eagles. I love how God likened us to an eagle in the Bible. But go Eagles. So I'm rooting for the Eagles tonight. Who are you rooting for tonight? I think it's the other team, Kansas City. See, y'all don't even know. I don't even know the teams that well because I don't really get into football. My husband, and I know he likes the Eagles. I know my grandson likes the Eagles, or our grandson, but I am not a football person. So, but singleness. And so in my singleness, I say after I was married the first time and I ended up getting a divorce, I, of course, was a single woman. And I like to say I was, I think I talked about this last time. I got to a place where I became satisfied in my singleness. And so if we talked about this before, we're talking about it again. But with Valentine's Day coming up, I just wanted to talk about that because there are a lot of people that are single. What's up? Hold on, y'all. Hello? Well, I'm sorry that you thought that. So it's okay. I'm on. So let me keep moving forward. You can jump on. I sent you the link. Bye. So anyway, I was in a place where I was single. Of course, before I ever got married, I was single. And when you're single and you just want to be loved by the person that God has for you, or that is that person for you, what was I going to say? I lost my thought. You want that. And I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. I wanted to be loved. I want to be rightly loved. And as I've said before last year, not last year, last week, a couple weeks ago, we look for love in the wrong places, in the wrong faces, and we just want to be rightly loved. And so, in my singleness, before I got married the first time, I shared last time on the last broadcast that I got pregnant at 14, or I became pregnant at 14 and had my first child at 15. Why? Because I had a desire to be loved, and I thought that that equaled love. And I know I'm not the only one that ever found myself in that situation, but I thought that that equaled love. And so, but what it resulted in me being a teenage mother. And so you're looking for love on all the wrong faces, in the places, in the bars, in the in the grocery store, in church. You're looking for love. And I know that for me, like the first time I got married, I was in love. I believe he was too. But I believe, um, I believe that God says if that's who you want, okay, um, that's who you are going to get. And it was a 12-year marriage that, as I said, sadly, it ended in divorce. And after 3 children, it ended in divorce. And then I became single again. Had to go through the divorce situation. But in that time, and I have to just keep stressing this and stressing this, during that time in my singleness, I became satisfied in who I was as a woman and who I was in God. Or I began to discover my freedom to be rightly loved. the way God created me to be loved as a woman. And so in that time, I will say it again, and because I want other women to get this. In that time, there was such a freedom that I experienced as a woman that I had never experienced before. I'd never experienced that kind of freedom in my desire to be rightly loved. And again, I shared how I raised my standards and saying that if you don't meet these standards, and I'm not trying to say I was better than anybody else or a guy that came my way, but I raised my standards and I kept them up there. And ladies, you can raise your standards when you go into a relationship. You can raise your standards. I'm reminded now of Steve Harvey. He wrote a book. I forget the title. Y'all probably know the book, Think Like a Man, something like that. But the one thing that when that book first came out and he was promoting that book, he talked about don't give up the cookie for 3 months. For the first 3 months that you meet somebody, don't give up the cookie. And now some people may think that's not very Christian-like for me to talk about that, but let's keep it real because we human beings and we men and women. And so, but I was like, yeah, because you know what? You do that in the first, let's say the first week, month, and then you'll discover that you really don't even like that person or that that person really isn't for you. And so I like how that was a standard that he was trying to get. He was saying to women to raise your standard to at least 3 months and don't give up the cookie for at least the first 3 months in your relationship with somebody. Right? You want to make sure that that is the person that you do want to spend your time with. So raise your standards, lady. Raise your standards. You can do it. There's guys out there that will meet those standards. Again, I'm not talking about being better than anybody else. You know, I feel like my husband and I are like he's a how do I say this? I'm a pinky kind of girl, kind of high maintenance at time. I'm all girly. And he's a guy likes to wear t-shirts and jeans, and he likes the labor type work. And I'm more of a business and corporate person. And but yet God put us together. And so it's not that, and I love to see that when God has a sense of humor, puts people together like that, where you're somewhat opposites, or people never would have put you together. But God knows what he's doing because he knows who you can handle, what you can handle. And yeah. So, but yeah, me and my husband, I say we are opposites in how he's a guy, and not to say nobody else isn't, and I'm a girly girl. And y'all know I do all this pink, and he's just satisfied to doing t-shirts and jeans. And over the years, I have gotten him to not wear the t-shirts and jeans over the years. He's kind of not always t-shirts and jeans, and he even got him to wear pink. And so, but God has that person for you. If you're a single woman, you're out there single, God has that guy for you. I know because I went through that singleness. So I ain't telling you something I've never dealt with. I've dealt with being single. I've dealt with being single, and I've dealt with looking for that person that was going to love me, that was going to rightly love me the way I'm supposed to be loved. And so in your singleness, it's okay. And it's okay not to give up the cookie for 3 months. As Steve Harvey says, for at least 3 months, don't give up the cookie. I'm wondering if I spelled the word singleness right. It's scrolling across the screen. And I'm looking up on my phone because I don't know that I spelled the word right. Singleness. Singleness. Let's see.
According to Merriam-Webster, the quality or state of being single.
Y'all heard that? So I did spell it right. Singleness. Singleness. How many single ladies out there? You know, there's been songs about put a ring on it. I do believe. Yep, I don't have my ring on now, but my husband put a ring on it. He did. He put a ring on it. He proposed. He got down on one knee and proposed. Yes, he did. He put a ring on it. He talks about how he was very nervous. I think, you know, most guys are pretty nervous when they do that proposal thing, but it was just he and I. It wasn't anybody else. We were at his apartment, and he had decided he was going to propose to me after our 1 year anniversary. And so, anyway, let him put a ring on it, y'all. Actually, my husband, he bought me some jewelry. And that was something he did like for me. He bought me jewelry when we first were dating. And I never had anybody to do that. Honestly, I never had anybody to buy me. I mean, it was real, excuse me, it was real jewelry. It wasn't cubic zirconia, but it was real jewelry. And a little story, and he bought me tennis bracelets. I never had a tennis bracelet. Unfortunately, I think I lost 2 of them. I think he bought me 2, and I lost both of them. Unfortunately, they came off my wrist, and you know, I just was like, okay. He was like, well, it wasn't okay. My husband was like, I am not buying you any more tennis bracelets because, yeah, and they weren't. I mean, they weren't very expensive, but they weren't cheap either. So, of course, you know, he wasn't trying to waste money if I was going to keep losing them. And I just think it was pretty much the bracelet. My wrist is very small, always been very small. So, they would come, sadly, fall off. And I think at one point we did do the little chain, but that did not work. It still came off. And so I understand him telling me, you know what, I just can't keep wasting money on tennis bracelets. So, but bought me jewelry. I never had a man buy me jewelry like that. Tennis bracelet, necklaces, earrings, diamond. And so, yeah, raise your standards. Raise your standards. And so, we have a guest tonight. It's actually Latoya. She's been trying to get on, and so I was gonna bring her on, let her talk about being a single woman. She's a single woman right now, and let her share. So I'm gonna add her to the stream. See what happens here. I think I want that. And welcome, Latoya. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear? Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. This is my daughter Latoya. She is at teenage. I was a teenager when I had her. I was 14, 15 when I had her, and so she is currently a single woman. I don't know if she got something in the works. Maybe she has something in the works, but I just wanted her to come on as a single woman. You know, we're getting ready for Valentine's Day, and you know, I've been single on Valentine's Day for a number of years, and so I know how that feels. But yet, there are women that take themselves out, go out with the girlfriends, and I think yesterday was what they call Galentine's Day, and like ladies got together and they celebrate. The single ladies celebrate their Valentines as Galentines. And one year I'm gonna have an event of Galentines, but you know, being single and maybe you are ready to not be single anymore. You're ready to be with somebody. But Latoya, so are you currently single?
Yes, I'm currently single.
Currently single. And so how do you deal with your singleness?
Well, I'm pretty busy, so it doesn't bother me unless like feel like I'm bored or you just get tired of coming home to the same house. Or it's like when you got time to sit around. But for me, I'm a busy woman. So I mean, but I do like text and talk here and there, and it's 9 times out of 10 people or guys try to hang out with me, and I'm like, I got this going on. I think I use that as an excuse to, kind of stay single sometimes because I like being single. I'm in a comfort zone of being single, and then when somebody try to talk to me, I think it's like I want it, and then I don't want it.
Well,
I
yeah.
think
So
I'm used to being single for so long. You get used to it.
Yep, you get kind of set in your ways,
Mm-hmm.
and that could be a challenge. I mean, I have seen people single for years, and then that person comes along, and that is the person for them. And so, and you just like, wow, they ended up finally, being with somebody, and they have to adjust, of course, to a new way of having that person also in their lives. But I can see how you can get very comfortable, complacent, and in you setting your ways as a single woman. And so, so you saying pretty much like Latoya is saying that she has a lot going on in her life, and so because of that, she doesn't really, like it's not like she's dwelling on it, but there are times when, she may be bored or just
Would like to have somebody.
Yeah, to have somebody that she can come home to, or if she doesn't, she's sick, or just that companionship. I believe that definitely we were created for companionship, no matter what. We were created for companionship, and you can have guy friends and girlfriends, and you can have people that you just hang out with, and that that fulfills that companionship. Sometimes it's nice to always to have that companion. I can share that when Mark and I got together, we were hanging out as friends, as doing things together, going to the movies, going out to eat, and that was nice. I have to say, being a single woman, I didn't have a romantic interest in him at the time, but we did enjoy each other's company, so we hung out together. And so, Tori, I'm not even sure what other questions to ask. The main one was, how do you handle your singleness that would help somebody else that may be single?
Well,
but
maybe I can add to it. I mean, like, don't rush, because like when I first started being single, it was like I didn't want to be single, and I was like trying to quick to find the next person to hook up with. And it was like a waste of time for me. And like I was just doing something for the moment. But just like really just to handle your singleness, like to me, I gotta figure out why I'm single. As far as relationship goes, was it me? Was it the other person? Maybe it's some things I need to work on. And I don't, if you got stuff going on with yourself, it's like you carry that on into the relationship. So it's okay to be single, because like you just need to step back, maybe, and just focus on yourself and figure out who you are. And then, like you said, what you really want, and not just settle and have standards. It's not like you better, but you know what you want as far as a person, and not just settling. I think I did a lot of settling. So that ended me up in a lot of like pointless relationships, or well, actually, as far as guys go, like the two I had did not last very long. So definitely standards, and now I know what I want and what I will allow and accept, and it's just I don't know. To me, it's like hard to find somebody. Maybe my standards are too high. That's what I think. And it's hard for me to find somebody in my standards. So it's like whatever. I'm not even gonna play myself and just try to play around with men or dating or wasting my time. I'll just be single and be happy. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I don't know.
I like that, and I talked about earlier about raising your standards, and I even brought in Steve Harvey when he did the book about don't give up the cookie for 3 months, and 90 days.
90 days. I'm just playing. No, but go ahead.
Yeah, so with that, I love how he did that, how he did the how he put that in there, because I said earlier when I was talking about it, like, you don't even know if you really like that person. Okay, so you give up the cookie, and then you find out I really don't even like him, and you've connected to him in that way,
right?
And you really don't like him. So I love how he said 90 days. Give it 90 days together before you go to that place. And then if you want to, but me and my husband, we waited until after we got married. I was a grown woman with 3 kids, and so we decided to wait for that part after we got married, and we had decided that wasn't gonna happen while we were in our relationship of dating. But I like how you say, discover who you are first. And I believe that in that time when I was single, God showed me who I was, and he did help me to raise my standards and keep them up. But discover, you need to discover who you are without being in a relationship, so that you don't take a lot of your stuff into the relationship. Now, I believe we all have amount of baggage that we will take into our relationships, but there's some things that we could work through, prior to going into a relationship. And so, yeah, take the time in your singleness and discover who you are, and what do you really want? Like you said, instead of, jumping into another relationship, you're like, okay, let me just step back and look at my life and like, what do I really want? What are my standards? Because the ultimate desire, the main desire we have is to be rightly loved, to be loved the way God created us to be loved as women. Yeah. And so that's where this broadcast is coming from, discover the freedom to discover the freedom and becoming, let me look at my notes here, discover the freedom to be rightly loved. God created us to be rightly loved. Discovering your freedom to be rightly loved. That's what I was trying to say. And there's freedom in that. As I said, when I was in my singleness and I discovered that freedom, wow, what a feeling of freedom that I'd never experienced before in my life. It's almost like for the first time in my life, and this may be not a great term to use, but I felt like I had the upper hand in a relationship, not where I was going to be demanding or demeaning. It's just that I raised my standard. I wouldn't lower it, and with that came the freedom. It came the freedom. So a woman's desire to just be rightly loved. And I don't have much more to say. I want to keep this to a half an hour. Latoya, is there anything else you want to add to your singleness, or some advice you can give to women that are single, or anything as a woman that's single, and anything that you want to add?
Well, I just kind of said it before. It's like sometimes it's hard being single, but I mean, I'm single for a reason, like you said, I have standards, and I'm tired of wasting my time. So it's like I'd rather be patient and not rush and jump in, or get happy with anybody that hit my inbox and say, "Hey, beautiful," or whatever. It's like I want to take the time and see what that person's about, and if they really about want to be with you, they'll stick around and find out, about you. Not, it's different types of men. So it's like you can tell from like the first couple, like, interactions with them. And like for me, it's always never mind. No, forget, like, and I just start responding. But I don't know, I just say take your time, don't rush it. I mean,
Okay.
you do have that instant connection, but you can tell like their intentions, with you if it's an instant connection. So, but it's not too seldom. But I'd say take your time, enjoy being single, and discovering who you are, and what you want out of relationship, and how you want to be treated in relationship.
I like that. Take your time, be patient, and discover who you are. Because many times we don't even know who we are, and we are saying, "Love me, love me, love me, love me," and
You
we
want
don't
them to
even
love
know.
all, like you know, what about them? Do you want to love? Like you could be a mess. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You're all over the place. How you expect somebody to love all of that? Like,
right.
like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so that thing of what you said, discovering who you are first. And real quick, so how do you feel about dating apps or those type of how do you feel about those? Because I've said I've seen a couple people
I,
actually get married through those
yeah,
apps.
you on Christian Mingle, um, but to me, it's a lot of weirdos out there. And then, like, people are just weird. I don't know how it's like a waste of time. Like I have the dating app, but I just be on it just to like click through the people, see if I see somebody that look good, or just conversate, like, cause it's a joke. But like it's little text buddies throughout the day, to me that's what that is. I'd
Wow.
rather meet somebody, like, I don't know, maybe I think I do better like in person, because I don't like really to be on my phone texting like that. I'd rather like have a phone conversation or be out, like maybe a meet and greet. But them dating apps, they're to me the one. Maybe I'm just on the wrong ones, but people are weird, and it's like it's a joke. You meet somebody and they turn out to be a weirdo. It's like that's why I say I just be on there just to be on there. I don't be
Okay.
none of that.
Okay,
Conversation.
so maybe the dating app just isn't for you. I know I've talked to you about it as your
Christian Mingle.
mom, and but some people have had success with them, but not, you know, not everybody, and it's not apparently they're not for everybody. So I've never been used a dating app, so I have no idea what it's like to use one and deal with somebody through an app and trying to trying to connect with them and get to know them. I always tell you be safe, when you meet somebody, if you do decide, excuse me, you decide to meet them. But from what I hear you saying is that, your singleness, you're okay in your singleness. It's like a time where you can discover who you are, what you really want, and have your standards. And sometimes you do struggle with, being alone as far as not in a relationship. But for the most part, you have a pretty active life. And I do believe is, when you're active, your focus is less on yourself when you're active in doing this. And I know you're a basketball coach and you love kids. And so I know that that keeps you, pretty occupied and, and, looking, I mean, doing that right now in the season that you're in. And so, but it's okay to be single. And in that time, it's okay to discover who you are and get to that place of discovering your freedom to be rightly loved, a woman's desire, our freedom to be rightly loved, knowing that freedom to be rightly loved. Because we all deserve to be rightly loved. God created us to be rightly loved. He pulled us from the man, his rib. It's just amazing how God did that, how he pulled us from man, but yet he has man come through us when we have babies. That's kind of like crazy if you think about it. But he only God can do that. Think about it. Really, that I can't even. My mind goes tilt. When you look at that, it's crazy. It really is. But it's not so much crazy as God. But I think he what he pulled us out of man, but it's like us, that desire for us to be loved by men is because we came out of man. I do believe that is part of why we have a desire to be loved by a man, is because we came out of him. And so that is it. It's
and they came out of us, so what's their problem?
I don't know.
Because it's a lot of, that's another topic. But yeah, they
I know
us, but they'll turn around and treat women like, it's just, and they baby mothers of women that bear their kids, and like, goodness gracious, you came out of a woman.
Yeah, you can't figure them out. Sometimes I say, God, like, okay, so why did you make him like that? Because there ain't no perfect relationship. There never will be. In relationships, you learn to compromise and work together, and you pick your battles. And is it worth it? Aside from, and this is always my disclaimer, aside from I'm not for any kind of abuse at all. None. Physical, mentally, emotionally, none of that. But you learn. I mean, if your love for each other is stronger than the petty stuff, because there's going to always be petty stuff, always. And so you have to. And for me, I've been married. It'll be 23 years this year, and it's only through God that I know that I'm still married. Only, and so He helps me. He really does. Because as I said on that podcast on Clubhouse, marriage ain't no joke. God is for marriage. I'm for marriage, but really, it's something else sometimes. Y'all know what I'm saying? So that is our podcast for tonight. Latoya, I thank you for coming out and sharing your heart, and definitely, want you to come back on, bring some other ladies on. I think it could have I think about 10 women on, but thank you for being a guest again, sharing your heart. And excuse me.
You're welcome, Mother.
And if you didn't join us tonight, join us on the afterplay. Take the time to look at it. Look at this video. It's A Woman's Desire, discovering your freedom to be rightly loved. So until next time, we hope to come back in a couple weeks. Until next time, we want you to live well, take care of yourself, and God bless. Let's see here.
Hang up the stuff.
Good night.